What is good, everybody? Happy Saturday night, and welcome to another episode of the Big Ticket. I'm your host, Vick3. And, this week I will be joined by my ECG family members. We got the guys up in the building and the ladies in the building. First of all, let me start off by bringing on my guy, Dante. Dante, what's good, my guy?
What up? What up? What up? How's everybody's night going, man? There's been some college football games going on. Hope everybody is ready to talk some Eagles.
Oh, yeah, it's been a pretty exciting day in college football, aside of Tennessee. I still don't understand how they're playing, what is it, UT Martin in the seventh week, but that's for another show. But
They got busted.
yeah, I know, right? It was like 58-7. That's wild.
hmm
But without further ado, we also have my guy, an ECG family member. We got Papa Sora. Papa, what's good?
What up? How we doing tonight, fellas?
Good, good, man.
Good.
How you been?
Can't complain.
Has Florida played yet?
So far we're winning against the bye week. We're
Hey,
winning against the bye week.
What
take
up,
any
Drew?
can because Florida needs them all. And lastly, and not least, we are joined by Key in the building. What up, Key?
Yo, I'm back. Back in the building. Let's roll.
How's your night going?
I mean, I didn't have kids in my house. That besides my own, he don't bother me none. We got little ones from like 8 to 2 in the house, but they go home tomorrow. So yeah.
Oh, that's it's a full house, and I know you love it when family's over, but it's great to see them go. And before we go on, let me just shout out everybody that came through in the
Go
chat.
on, Drew.
What up, Zach? Appreciate you for coming through. Nightings, my guy, loyal member. He's always come through, always tweeting. Thank you for coming through tonight. BLSG, my guy. Later on, I might open it up if you're available. I would love for you to come on. We got Big Play Slay, aka the franchise, aka Garnier Fructi's own.
Slay.
Slay.
Drew Johnson, appreciate you. Appreciate everyone for coming through, and whoever will be watching now in the future, thank you. But let's start it off. We had a couple of weeks that have been very exciting for Eagles fans. So far, the Eagles are 6-0. We're looking at probably one of the best offenses in the league, followed up with one of the best defenses in the league. But before we get to that, there's been some news with the Eagles. On the Eagles front, I should say. It looks like the Eagles have been inquiring on the Carolina's Panthers' Brian Burns, according to ESPN. Now, we all know that he was paired up with Hassan Reddick in Carolina, but let me just tell you, he comes with a cost. NFL GM states that the minimum for Burns is 2 first-round picks. Now, let me just ask everybody, let me go around the horn. I'll start off with you, Key. What are your thoughts on that asking price? Is that too much?
I know Burns is great at what he does, and he would be a nice addition to this Eagles offense. But is he really worth two first round picks? Knowing we get that pick from the Saints? I mean, Harry Roseman then worked up magic, and this might be something he will pull the trigger on. Knowing we still got players that are old, just getting up there in age, and Burns is still a young guy, I think. So, I mean, if it'll help us defensively wise, I mean, I definitely would pull that trigger. Maybe not to first. Maybe it's how we get his finagling car dealer salesmanship skills in there, and we'll see. But I definitely would not mind a Burns on our team.
Oh, I wouldn't either. And yeah, I think some finagling will have to be done. But Papa, let me get your thoughts. Do you think the asking price is a little too high?
Absolutely, I do. I'm sorry. Unlike some other people who I will not mention, I'll talk about backstage, but who say, yeah, let's pull the trigger on 2 first-round picks on Twitter. Have y'all lost your ever-loving mind? No, I don't think. I get he was paired with Hassan Reddick, but you're looking at a guy, and yes, I know he's 32 years old. But let's not act like Robert Quinn still can't produce. And you can get him for much, much cheaper. And the way I see it, you could spend your 2 first-round picks on Brian Burns, which is a mistake, or spend a late rounder, like a 5th pick, on Robert Quinn. You'll have him for his remaining years. Again, still producing. In the early draft, You got guys like Will Anderson out there. You got guys like Miles Murphy out in Clemson. Shout out to the comeback win, by the way, Clemson. You've got Jalen Carter. I know he's mainly defensive tackle, but he can also play edge as well. So you've got B.J. Ojulari. So you've got guys in the draft that can play edge. And knowing Howie Roseman, he's probably going to take one of those first-round picks, trade back, so we can have 2 first-round picks next year. So, no, I think the asking price is way too much. I don't think he's worth 2 first-round picks. I don't even think he's worth 1 first-round pick at this point. So, yes, I do think the asking price is way too high. I'd rather go with a guy like Robert Quinn.
Very interesting. I like Robert Quinn also. And one name that wasn't mentioned, and I said it before in the our discussions, Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech. I think that kid's a monster. I think
you're absolutely right. I forgot about him.
Great talent. If we can get him in the first round, that'd be great. But let me get you, Dante, because you've seen him in college. He's a Florida State alum. But I'll get to that part later on what you think he can bring to the team. But let me just get your thoughts on the asking price, because you've seen him more than anyone else. Do you think that's too much?
Absolutely not. And Sora's just saying everything that he's saying because he's a Florida fan and had to play against Brian Burns for 3 years in college.
I have no ill will against Brian Burns.
Whatever, dog.
Josh Sweat was a Florida State fan, and I have no ill will against that guy.
Was he a fan or was he a player? Or was he both? You just said he was a fan. Nah, I'm messing with you, man. Anyways, I think
naps today, bro.
So this is why I think he's worth 2 first-round picks. First of all, he's only like 23, 24 years old, so he's still young. He just got over a major injury, and he looks like he wasn't injured at all. Mm-hmm. Second of all, you're going to pair him up with Hassan Reddick, and Hassan Reddick's best friend was Brian Burns on that defense. To me, I think whatever the sack total is now is like 4.5 sacks that Hassan Reddick's got. Mm-hmm. When it's really like 2.5 based off of the way that the Eagles have been playing with like Fletcher Cox and everybody getting to the quarterback first. And all you got to do is just touch the quarterback and you get half a sack. Like, let's not sit here and act like he's this all-world beater edge rusher. I think people overhype Hassan Reddick's aptitude at edge, but that's what he's good at. That he's good at setting the edge, causing fumbles and things like that. I'm not taking away from his skill set. I'm just saying he pairs really well up with Brian Burns. And also another thing that Brian Burns gives you a lot of is a lot of things that you see with TJ Watt and JJ Watt. What's one thing that makes them really, really good at what they do? Not sacking, not tackling. The fact that they can get their hands up and bat the ball down on the line of scrimmage as well. And that's what Brian Burns does with you. And also you can drop him back in coverage too, is what they were trying to do with Hassan Reddick. But you actually have the possibility of him and Kaiser White playing in, some packages where you can line them up against tight ends and have them cover them. And Brian Burns is really, really fast, and his arm length is absolutely insane. That's why they call him Spider-Man.
I was about to say, yes, they called him Spider-Man. Trust me, again, no ill will towards Brian Burns. I thought the Spider-Man thing was hilarious. I mean, carried around a comic with him during the draft of Spider-Man.
But, yeah, I mean, he's young. He's got every skill set that you're looking for. He's kind of that new school, slimmed down edge rusher. Reminds you, I said this about Kayvon Thibodeau, but I also think Brian Burns, he reminds me a lot of Von Miller, too. Just that put your hands up in the air, swat the, if I'm not bigger than you, at least I had the length to get around you or, move your arms out the way. And that's what he does really, really well. Do I think it's overkill if he does go to the Eagles? I think it's really, really overkill. Like, I'm not necessarily sure that you guys need him, but I know that you guys have some guys that you had to restructure their deals after this year, and he's going into the last year of his contract, I believe, as well. So, I mean, if you bring him in, you got to get rid of 3 people. That's just how I look at this whole situation. You bring him in, you restructure his contract, but you got to get rid of 2 or 3 people at least. So, but I think he's well worth 2 first-round picks. And then another point, sorry to take over the time, but I think this is very important to note. He's one of the only edge rushers like Josh Allen from the Jacksonville Jaguars that can play both sides of the football. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about, 9 and 7 and 9 technique on both sides of the ball, he can play that and also line up against the tight end and destroy him on the line of scrimmage. If you think a tight end is going to go and block him, it's not going to happen. So That's he had 9 sacks total from playing left defensive end and right defensive end the next year. So you can flip flop him however you want to, and he can line up anywhere. So he's a versatile player. So you have to include that when you're talking about is he worth 2 first round picks.
And you got to also look at how you were talking about get rid of 2 or 3 players. Potentially Kelsey's last year. He's been debating retirement for 3+ years. Fletcher is on his last year. Hargrave's on his last year deal. What's his face? Don't you have to? Do we still need to restructure Chauncey, or did we already get him?
Yeah, you have to restructure him this year.
So we have to restructure Chauncey. Edwards, you got to restructure. Kaiser White, you got to restructure. So
There's a lot of moves to be made
that's
this
got to also
offseason.
be in account with. And granted, we've seen Howie do it before. However, if one of the linebackers go and we got a Ventrell Miller, I'm not complaining. I will not complain.
Listen, Burns is like you said, is a versatile talent. Since coming into the league in 2019, he has 29.5 sacks. So the kid's out there producing, and to be on this team, it would be a great benefit to us. But let me ask you a question. I know I said, is the asking price too high? But let me get more specific, and I'll start off with you, Dante. Is that asking price too high for the Eagles to spend?
I think so. For the simple fact is you brought in, like, Howie did a hell of a job this offseason. I mean, say what you want. Everybody and their mama that was an Eagles fan was saying how much you guys hated Howie Roseman until you saw the Kaiser White thing, until you saw the Jordan Davis, until you saw the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, until you saw I know Jaquaski Tart wasn't there, but at least he was trying to address an issue. Mm-hmm. Once you've seen all those issues that got addressed, then the Leafs started turning. But what happens with all that? You bringing in all these players, somebody's got to be restructured. Some contracts have to be renegotiated. Jalen Hurts, if he finishes in the top 10 as a top 10 quarterback this year, you got to pay him. Mm-hmm. Miles Sanders, what are you going to do with that? Because Kenneth Gainwell,
Miles Sanders is a free agent. So.
Yeah, and then after a while, Devontae Smith, what are you going to do with him? And I'm not sure about Dallas Goedert's situation, but there's a lot of things that
signed. Dallas Goedert's good.
We haven't even talked about Jordan Mailata, who's been coming up, and his contract will be coming up shortly.
We gave him a contract.
Yeah, we gave Goddard and Mailata a contract.
And Avonte Maddox.
When was Mailata signed? Last year?
Last year.
Yeah.
Last year it was the 3 weeks. Every week somebody else. It was Mailata.
I totally forgot about Mailata then, because I knew his deal would be coming up because his rookie deal.
Because Howie foresaw this, he went, hold up. he pulled the Doctor Strange and went, all right, got it.
But yeah, I don't think it's the right move for the Eagles, because what are you gonna do? It's just to me, it's a domino effect. It's like, all right, we don't brought everybody in, and we gotta pay attention to the salary cap. I mean, this is not baseball where you can spend all your money. Mm-hmm. You got to follow that, and you have to prepare for the future at the same time. So with me, the smarter move would be to keep those 2 first-round draft picks and just bank on your future being good and sign the players that you need to sign, because all of them are playing out of their mind this year, so why give up on them? I mean, you're probably going to have to replace Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox, but they've already done that with Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis. So it's like, why bank on trying to do something else? Develop those 2 guys and have them plug into place. And, like, you literally don't need to move any pieces on your team even next year. If you guys keep every single person on that team, you're still going to be straight, unless there's, like, an injury or something that happens. But then you also have the capital to go out and go get somebody in free agency, or to address a trade, as well. So, or address a trade, for the next trade deadline next year. So, there's a lot of things you need to think about, but I don't think Brian Burns should be on the radar at all. I think it's one of those get everybody talking about the Eagles still, which is a publicity stunt. That type of stuff does happen. I think it would be more lucrative for you guys to go out, and me and Sora were talking about this earlier. If you want another rock solid wide receiver, go get DJ Moore.
Yeah,
I mean, it'll suck having 3 number ones.
I would much rather trade for DJ Moore than I would for Brian Burns, and that's a fact.
If the Eagles trade for DJ Moore, do you understand? Like, you might even hear Aaron Rodgers jumping off a bridge somewhere in Wisconsin.
Oh yeah,
like he was my ending.
Yeah, well, he's a contract monster too, but you know why it makes sense is because you guys still have a question mark on kick and punt returns, and there's DJ Moore for you,
Yeah,
so that adds value right there.
100%. And it's also because, or not because, I should say, but and again, Dante and I were talking about in the Discord. I know they have Zach Pascal. I know they have Quaz. What the hell?
Quaz Watkins.
Yeah, Quaz Watkins. But the way I see it, and I've been saying this all off season, you have, and even Sirianni says, Zach Pascal is the enforcer. I have mentioned OBJ as a joke, but I doubt we will get him. Anyways, DJ Moore is as weird as it says, or as weird as it is to say, a lot more realistic than OBJ. But yeah, you got Zach Pascal. He's the enforcer. Comes in for the blocks. He comes in when he needs to. He does his job. He is what they were hyping up Rager to be. He'll come in. He'll get his 3 catches. He'll make them. He's good. Quez Watkins is your wide receiver 4. He's what Deshaun Jackson was on the Raiders. He'll come in for the screens. He'll come in for the quick slants / inside routes. And he'll come in for those like 1 or 2 deep shots. And I mean, that's basically kind of like Quez is still good, but I don't see him as a pure wide receiver 3. Enter DJ Moore. That's where he can. Plus, DJ Moore's also a Philly kid, and DJ Moore has been linked to Philly before, so it's kind of one of those things where it's like,
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
what, that he was a Philly kid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, you saw it with Kaiser White. Just bring all the Philly kids back to Philly.
I thought he said that. You seen Kaiser Wifes? Like what?
He's out here like that. But do you
Yeah.
do you think that move is too expensive for the Eagles, Papa?
What, for DJ Moore?
No. I'm saying for Burns. Do you think that just spending the 2 first round is that too much for the Eagles to do?
Again, yeah, I think it is, because you got to look at number 4. You got a guy like Will Anderson, the guy from Clemson who I just mentioned, and I can't remember his name. But you've got these options at defensive end. You've got, and again, Howie is one of those guys to where it's going to be, he'll see QBs go off the board. Some team's going to get panicky. He's like, I'm going to hold this number 4 pick, if we end with number 4 or wherever the things are. I'm going to hold this pick ransom. Because somebody's going to pull what the Bears did when they traded up for Mitchell Trubisky and try to jump somebody to get this pick. So what you going to give me? Because that's just what Howie does.
And this year there's actual quarterback talent.
Yeah. And some people that think there is quarterback talent, and guys like Will Levis. Somebody's going to want to jump on Will Levis for whatever reason. So
We don't say that name here.
Right.
And Tyler Van Dyke.
Yep.
just say that name. Bro, I remember somebody once said that he was going to be the next Peyton Manning. Oh my God, that ooh.
Bless their soul.
Right.
Bless their soul. Key, what are your thoughts? Do you think this is too pricey for the Eagles to do?
I mean, as much as it would be nice to have a Brian Burns on your team, young guy, can get sacks, can move different sides, left and right, very athletic, versatile, I think it is too much. We got a lot of pieces we got to pay just moving forward, and I just think I wouldn't risk it. Even though it'd be nice, it'd be amazing, but I wouldn't do it. It's too high.
It's too much.
Yeah, I don't think it's a move that we should make either. Again, he's a great
Miles
talent.
Humphrey, that was the guy from Clemson.
Yeah, but for 2 first rounds, that's way too much for us because, like I said, there's a lot of talent coming out of this draft. We should take advantage with these 2 first round picks and not worry about getting locked into a contract. Again, we can get it. We can get great talent, someone who could possibly be the talent of a Burns in this draft. So I think that would be the smarter way to go for us, at least. But let me get to you, Dante, because like I said before, you've seen Brian Burns more than any one of us here. So let me get your thoughts. What is it that Brian Burns would bring to the Eagles, and would he thrive under this defense with Jonathan Gannon?
I think Brian Burns is kind of an anomaly. I think he fits in any defense because he's so versatile. It's kind of like Kaiser White. Like I was telling people when you guys got him, he's versatile, but it doesn't. I mean, being one of the league's leading tacklers last year, it doesn't. You could go to any scheme and tackle, and he's been doing more than that for you guys. And he doesn't get mentioned a lot now because of the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson games and the Hassan Reddick's getting 2 fumbles, but like he is your constant over the middle stop and runs every freaking game, and nobody mentions him. Like but that's what you spent the money for him to do, is to be that. And I think the same thing with Brian Burns. This is why I don't think it's a good move, because I mean, you give yourself too many options, which it makes it hard for other teams to game plan around, but it also makes your defense really confusing to control as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, you have two versatile pieces. It's like, where do you put them? I mean, it benefits Hassan Reddick, like I said. I mean, they played on that team, and I thought of it as the Ryan Kerrigan, Chase Young situation. Like,
Yeah, because Panthers were like top 5 defense when they had him out.
oh yeah, I mean
Chunk
it.
of the season.
Like, yeah. Well, here's another player, and I think it'd be too much. Like, in Jonathan Gannon's defense, I think he would get frustrated after a while, because you have to define his role for him to thrive. Like, if you're gonna stick him doing this, then stick him doing that, because now you have too many people doing this. That, oh, Kaiser, you're in coverage. Oh, I thought I was in coverage. Oh, I'm rushing the quarterback. Oh, I'm flipping to Hassan's side. Like, what am I doing? And we know Jonathan Gannon hasn't been perfect, and what's gonna frustrate somebody like Brian Burns, because his gas tank is so high motor, that towards the end of the games, like you guys just completely slow down, and that's I don't know why you guys stray away from the game plan. I think that would frustrate somebody that's young and hungry like Brian Burns too, because he's like, what are we doing? Well, why is everybody's motors not going like mine? And you'll start to see the frustrations with them. Another player I did want to mention, and I know he's not on the trade block, and there's no way in hell that the Panthers would trade him, but is Jeremy Chin.
Yeah. I'm surprised he hasn't been on the trade block, because I fully expected that Carolina would just go full rebuild, because you already saw Christian McCaffrey. You already saw...
It makes more sense for it to be Christian McCaffrey and Jeremy Chin, not Brian Burns and DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. I was about to say Robbie Anderson, but I know he wasn't a key piece of that team. But like you saw with Anderson got traded, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Burns has been talked about, DJ Moore has been talked about.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, Jeremy Chin has not been talked about. So I don't know if they're just like, look, we're just gonna build our entire defense around this dude.
Where's my boy Slade at? Because he'd be losing his mind. Us talking about his Panthers right now, getting rid of all his favorite players.
That's why I was saying, when I was talking about they had a top 5 defense at one point, I was about to say I can already hear Slade type and be like, "We were the number 1 defense that."
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, Jeremy Chin, like, you guys are still not completely solid at the safety position. Like, let's just be real with it. And
no, because once
Jeremy Chin is
down, it was over.
Yeah, and when Jeremy Chin steps in the game, you know he's there. Like, he does. He's that next new school safety as well that you can pull down even to play linebacker. Like, they've been experimenting with Kyle Hamilton a little bit because he's just so big, and he's reliable up the middle.
Honestly, there's two things that I'm surprised about that hasn't happened, especially when a safety like a Chauncey goes down or a Epps goes down. You had Kaiser White, who had experience at safety. I'm surprised you didn't pull him there and have Dean fill in for White. I'm also surprised that you haven't had or re-signed Anthony Harris, because he's just chilling on the Broncos practice squad. I thought we were just going to stick with him with the 1-year deal and be like, all right, it's backup, because I knew there was going to be... Obviously, I didn't know Chauncey was happening. I woke up, I saw that, I was screaming my ass off. But I'm just kind of surprised that they didn't re-sign Harris back to, like, be that third safety. You're telling me you trust
policy.
You're telling me you trust Wallace? Nobody trusts Wallace.
Hey, Wallace has been getting beat on some plays. What was it? The last game, I know that one touchdown was because of him.
To Ferguson or not?
Yeah, he totally missed the assignment. But yeah, I would not trust him at all. I think Chin is someone that we should be taking a look at, and yeah, I haven't heard his name mentioned at all, which is crazy.
It just doesn't make sense.
I would much rather get DJ Moore.
Why DJ Moore and Brian Burns when they're so young, they're so talented? I understand they want to rip the rug right under that organization and start over, because that's essentially what they're doing. Like, let's have somebody else pay for your salary, but you're also going to get kicked in the butt too, because not every team is going to agree to buy these players out, no matter how talented they are. So keep them. Like, DJ Moore is now He's not competing with Robbie Anderson, which he really shouldn't have in the first place. Brian Burns is not competing with anybody else. Here's the other guy that they don't mention, Derek Brown, their defensive tackle. Why is he not on the trade block? Like, he hasn't performed like he thought they would. Now, the Panthers, this is what the Panthers are doing. They're looking at everything like, we obviously made some wrong moves, so in order for us to make the right moves and get some draft picks back and redo this all over again, we're just going to get rid of all our players. When Derek Brown, really that draft pick should have been Isaiah Simmons, and you saw that this weekend by how incredible that dude is. Like, me and my dad were saying this. Why didn't they pick up him? Because this was the year that Luke Kuechly retired, and Isaiah Simmons played linebacker, safety, and nickelback. And he was rotating in all those pieces. He was important to that Clemson defense. And it's like, that's your next Luke Kuechly. Go get him. Auburn, defensive tackle, Derek Brown. And we were like, oh, my God.
Yeah,
and then
that blew my mind. And I think it was because, which is weird, because Isaiah Simmons also had a really good year that draft year. But I think that was just because Derek Brown was the talk. It was like, this is the defensive tackle in the draft, all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. This was the guy. Because I guess he was just being talked about more than Isaiah Simmons. So the Panthers were like, we're going to go with the guy that's been talked about more.
And he's been underwhelming.
Exactly. And
shout out to my boy Slade. He'll overhype everybody, but he's been underwhelming.
Yeah. And that's honestly probably why, because my question is, Brian Burns, is this like his last year or is next year's last year on his rookie contract?
This is his last year on his contract, I believe, but
so
I'll look it up.
Also you got to probably also look at contract situations. You still got Chin, 2 years left on his contract. Brown, 3 years left on his contract because he's a first rounder, so they can just exercise the 5th year option.
They just extended DJ Moore, so why would anybody trade for him? He's expensive. He got his contract before Terry McLaurin because those are the two that we were always comparing.
Yeah.
But when you say why would someone trade for him, it was mentioned, even Blue City just mentioned it. The Giants are interested in the Giants would be a team that desperately need him.
Yeah,
like, they need help at receiver.
He would make
but why not build if we clearly know Carolina's on a rebuild?
Yes.
Why not keep DJ and Brian Burns and build around him instead of dishing them off some damn where?
This is what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
you need pieces to build. Like, whoever's going to come in and take over this team, whether it be the coach or GM, they're going to need some pieces to build upon. They can't just start from scratch because then you're just going to push you back 3 to 5 seasons now. We're not talking about something that you can overturn within 2 seasons. We're talking about 3 to 5 now. And and like no head coaches want to come into that situation. And if you do have a head coach, it's going to be another college coach or a first-time coach that is desperate for an opportunity. And sometimes that works out, but most of the times it doesn't.
Yeah, Brian Burns next year is his contract year. So if they trade him, somebody's going to have to take her $16 million.
Well, let me ask you on. I'll start off with you, Papa. Would the acquisition of Burns be more significant than the signing of Hassan Reddick?
I mean, kind of. I
was waiting for you. That's why I waited for you last.
a little bit, yeah, because I do think he is the better pure, or not better pure. I think he's what we thought Reddick was going to be. Reddick to me is just pure edge rusher. Burns can play both sides. He's just very versatile, and he can also cover the tight ends. And it again, much like Dante has been saying this entire time, Reddick and Burns together were a very good duo.
Yes.
So, yes, it would. Again, I'm not saying this move would not help, but this move would basically turn us into the Rams. Maybe we get the Super Bowl, and then next year we're screwed. So that's. Ooh. No, I was just saying. So that's kind of the whole point of it. But I mean, yes, it would be more significant than signing Reddick.
Key, what are your thoughts? Do you think signing a Burns would be more significant than signing Reddick?
It sure enough would. I'm gonna definitely say yes. It would be significant. Just look at his resume so far. I mean, he's a monster on both ends. Like, you don't see too many guys that can play both sides like that and still dominate from both sides. Yeah. 9 sacks on each side, like that. You can't teach that. But yes, that'll be definitely more significant than Hassan Reddick deal.
Dante, I see you waiting patiently, and I see there's a thought. You have a thought on your mind.
Oh, he's got more than
Have
just
at
a
it.
lot.
What are your thoughts?
I've already told you guys, and if you guys listened to me before, and if this is the first time you're hearing me, Hassan Reddick does not show up against really good teams. And granted, this team is the most dominant defense he's ever played on, so he has a lot of help. But like when they played Tampa Bay, didn't show up. When they played the Saints when they were good, didn't show up. When he was with the Cardinals, when they played the Seahawks, it didn't show up. Like you can go look at his game logs and his splits, and you know, Vic, everybody here knows that like I'm a splits guy, man. I want to see if you're showing up when it really matters. Like, you know, Brian Burns has played 54 games and has had 29 and a half sacks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's an absolute monster on the edge, and he's a really good tackler too. So what you're doing, and it's a shame that the dude only has one Pro Bowl. Isn't that unbelievable? But it's because of his injury history. That's just what it is. But you know, of course, if I was carrying my team too, my back would hurt eventually. But Brian Burns is, and like I said, he gives you everything that you need. And it would be way more like if you had to look at it like this, right? Because people were overhyping Hassan's sack total the last 2 years, but didn't really account for that Brian Burns was literally blowing up.
The film.
Yeah, he was blowing up 2 offensive linemen at a time, or a tight end and an offensive lineman every freaking play. So Hassan was just out there doing whatever he wanted, free nilly. It just is what it is. Just watch the tape. Now, the thing with Brian Burns, what you guys know about Brian Burns, if they said, knowing that Hassan Reddick's on the team now, would you have been more excited to see Brian Burns show up across the timeline or Hassan Reddick? Because I'm not sure a lot of people knew who Hassan Reddick was, but everybody knows who Brian Burns is. Like, let's be real. Let's be really real about it. How many honestly people knew about Hassan Reddick?
Oh yeah, but if we're gonna be real about it, you have to expect that Howie might have some disappointment with the fact that he could have gotten Burns, but got Reddick instead. Again, it's a move that they had to make, and it's a good move no matter what. But right now, I know there's a little bit of regret, and that's probably why the Eagles are even entertaining the thought of calling for him, for the fact that that's the guy they probably really wanted.
But
you got to also look at, and sorry to cut you off, but you got to also look at the 3 teams right now that have been involved. You've got the Eagles, Chiefs, and the Rams. 2 out of 3 of those are in talks of being Super Bowl contenders. So you got to highly doubt that you're going to get your 2 first-round picks. Because I can tell you right now, the Rams, they don't got a first-round pick till 2040. The Chiefs, I doubt you're going to get
2040.
I'm being sarcastic.
No, not
I was about to say,
it feels like it though. It feels like it sometimes.
Can you bring up that last comment from Blue City?
Right here.
But there's a problem. The Carolina Panthers want a lot of first-round picks for Brian Burns. He's worth it. He's worth both.
Oh, I assume DJ Moore's going to be worth a first rounder.
You're telling me right now, Blue City? Let's put it on the table right now. Kayvon Thibodeau before the draft or Brian Burns? Who's going to satisfy you more on the Giants? You would have picked Brian Burns all day because you know Brian Burns is an absolute monster. He's worth the 2 first-round picks.
Also, again, shout out
Carolina's
to the
defense is
Spider-Man
nothing
thing.
without him.
But you got to think about it this way too. This is their initial asking price. This isn't the set price. This isn't what they're going to get for him. This is what their fielding offers. We're trying to see if anyone's interested in giving us 2 first rounders. If not, we got to switch it up. We'll take a first and a second, or a first and a third. That's what's going to end up happening. It's not going to be for 2 first-round picks unless there's a team desperate enough to do it. And right now, if there was one, I'm pretty sure the deal had already been made.
You also saw the same thing though, and I don't want to point this up. When Deshaun Watson was on the trading block, what was the asking price? 3 first-round picks. What was the team that had 3 first-round picks? What's the asking price now? 2 first-round picks. How many teams have 2 first-round picks this year?
Yeah, that's a great point. That's usually what they do. They figure out who has the most.
Who has the most picks? They're like, yeah, this is the asking price. We're hoping that team. And this is also Howie. So Howie being Howie, he's like, I see your 2 first prices, and instead, I'll give you a firm handshake and a 5th-round pick.
Yo, Zach, that's a great comment that you posted up there. because of the fact, and like I said,
Oh,
if you
this
go and
is-
watch Hassan Reddick, a lot of him is just touching the quarterback after somebody's already gotten to him. I guarantee if you go watch all 4 Brian Burns sacks, he's the only one in the backfield. Guaranteed.
Reddick's there to clean up the mess. Burns is there to make the mess.
But
thing with
Reddick's
Reddick-
really good at causing fumbles. Like, I'm not taking that away from that man. Like, he's really
the
good at
thing
seeking out the
with
ball.
Reddick, and the thing that probably annoys me the most with Reddick, and even my dad, shout out to Pops, even my dad said it. He always takes such bad angles when he's coming off the. He can beat the guy, but he just can't take the angle. If he takes the right angle, that man probably has a lot more than 3.5 sacks by now.
Hassan Reddick does not know how to play like 5 technique at all, like, which is inside the guard and the tackle. Like, I don't know. I don't know why he does it. He's always going to the outside, and then by the
Yeah,
time
he
he
never
tries
wants
to
to
give it
cut
to quarterback, he's
inside.
running a marathon to get back to
I'm
him.
like, oh my goodness. Yes,
Hey,
Don.
Let me just, hey, that's what I said. Let me just shout out. Thank you, Don, for coming through. Let me just shout out everybody again for coming through in the chat who has come lately. If you can, please go to everyone's channel, subscribe, throw the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please hit that subscribe button. You got great content coming through throughout the years and from the other fellas on the panel. But let me ask you something. If the Eagles were to make a move, and they were to sign, would that be that the Eagles are in win mode now? Right? Yeah. Hook up Ducky with a subscription. Come on, man. Ducky's been working hard out here.
Hook a fellow duck up.
Dante, let me ask you first. If the Eagles were to trade for Burns, do you think that's a sign of win mode now?
Oh, if
I
they
gotta get one of them plushies.
if they trade for Brian Burns, at least from a defensive standpoint, there's no way in hell. I'm calling it right now. There's no way in hell that any team in the NFL scores more than 17 points on the Eagles defense the whole rest of the season, like per game. Like, they're gonna have the lowest. And I'm not just saying that because all 3 of y'all are Eagles fans. I'm truly saying that. Like I said, the first 5 games of the season. How many times have I said it? First 5 games of the season is going to tell you everything you need to know. And then we still got people crying about, oh, Dak wasn't playing for. He would have did the same exact thing. Again, the Jaguars are the closest team to beating y'all, and you figured it out. Once you get people to suffer their, surrender their running game in certain situations, that's it. It's so suffocating. Like, that's what it is. Like, your whole defense is suffocating. And what's going to happen if you add Brian Burns? It's going to be strangulation. Like, every freaking game. So,
What are these terminologies?
I mean, it's like trying to it's like trying to put a tube sock on top of your dog's head, man. Like, it's not.
What are these analogies? What are you doing to Daisy? Daisy, bark twice if you need help.
Right?
You call my dog Daisy though? Cassie.
Cassie,
Oh,
bark twice.
he had the Y, the Y sounding at the end. That's all he knew.
Yo, my dog just got the Michael Jackson meme out, and I took that personally because he was over here.
Michael Jordan, even. You said Michael Jackson, so I'm not the only one making mistakes with names, so suck it.
Key, what are your thoughts? If we were to get Brian Burns, is that a sign that we're in win now mode?
Absolutely. The championships win games, and man, that defense will be killer than it already is. We already got that secondary. Just imagine that front. Yeah, that's definitely win mode. That's definitely win now mode. Yeah.
Ooh, hopefully. Papa, what are your thoughts? If we get him, are we in win now mode?
I feel like if you get Burns or more, either one of those two, yes, you're gonna win now. I'm fine if we get either of them. I only want it to be a good asking price.
Yeah.
Because obviously the 2 first-round picks are not going to happen. Howie would never do that. I do agree that I do think it would be a very good defense. Like, a very good defense. Probably one of the, if not the best in the league. Because, I mean, Key is right. Defense does win championships. And I know Dante was talking about, like, his Brian Burns motors. Like, I know for whatever reason, we just stopped playing football in the third quarter. So maybe if you get a guy like that, that'll help. That'll just help boost it up. Just turn on everybody's motor. Pause. And again, we keep talking about him pairing well with Hassan Reddick. Not only is that helping out our defense, that's helping out Hassan Reddick. So Hassan Reddick's going to be able to produce more. The entire D-line will be able to produce more. If the entire defensive line is able to get pressure and sack the quarterback, that helps out the secondary. That helps out the linebackers. That helps out everybody. So I know earlier I was saying, no, I think the 2 firsts are high price. But if we get them, then yes, that 100% is a big help. However, don't go sell the whole franchise for him. Because like Slay said, and I even mentioned it earlier, someone's going to want a top-notch quarterback in this draft class. Someone, for whatever reason, is going to want to jump on Will Levis, who's sitting there at 4. And how he's going to sit there like the Godfather and go, you come to me, asking for this piece of shit quarterback. Ice him. He's going to pull out the stogie and he's going to go, how could you do this to me?
Hold up, bro. I just went and got some.
Oh, are we getting out the stogies now?
I went and got some new stogies yesterday, bro. Straight up.
Let's get the stogies out.
The wife's away. We about to celebrate tonight.
This reminds me of those.
Yo, Vic, you smoke cigars, man?
Nah, I never smoked cigar or cigarettes. It wasn't my bag.
I never tried cigars until like last year. I've always was interested, but I only smoke maybe like 4 or 5 a year.
I was about to say, I'm
It's
interested.
literally like in a
I'm
group setting.
interested in it, but
It's a cool look. You know what I mean? You got that boss look when you, but I don't know. Do you inhale? Do you not?
No, you don't.
If you see, look, I'd probably kill myself.
Yo, Key, you smoke cigars?
He would have somehow swallowed the cigar.
I don't smoke cigars, or I'm going to plead the fifth on smoking. I'm just going to say that.
I ain't gonna plead the fifth. Y'all know me.
Yo, Vic, I'm bringing the Stogies to the Penn State game. If you're feeling a little froggy, we can get down.
I smoke a cigar. I'm just saying, but
Black and Miles, I did that when I was a kid. So, but that was just like you try to get it for a little taste to see what it was, but I can't really call it smoking.
I did Black and Miles too back in the day. That was
I don't even think I knew what the hell I was doing. That was another thing where you did you inhale that too? Do you inhale?
Yeah, you don't inhale those.
Oh damn! See, look, I'm gonna have to go.
You don't inhale Black and Miles?
Well, yeah, you do. I'm just saying you don't.
Well, I would do different things with Black and Miles. I would gut them for other purposes. That's why. But move it along.
Too much work. I've seen people do the gutting of the Black and Mild. I don't want to smoke it after that.
You got the little filter thing. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Before we move on, can we just on the fact that Vic said I'm gonna have to take classes? I'm just imagining Vic walking into like a community center and it's smoking 101 and you just have, hello, my name is Kathy. I've been smoking 50 packs a day for the past 25 years. Welcome to smoking 101.
Yeah, right.
See the CPAP here?
That's not what you use a CPAP for, though.
Or not CPAP. Listen. The marijuana went to my head.
That's for people who can't sleep at night.
He said, smoking all these cigarettes gave me sleep apnea.
Papa, let me ask you a question. What are your thoughts on
Don't let it be about smoking.
No smoking questions. We're a smoke-free section right now. But what are your thoughts on the 6-0 start so far?
A lot of ups and downs. Definitely. I'm gonna be real. So far, I think our biggest test, I know Dante said, was Jacksonville. Going into the season, I thought it was going to be, as I wiggle around in my chair trying to get comfortable, I thought it was going to be the Vikings. We handled them pretty well.
That's a good one.
I was feeling good after that. And like Dante said, Jacksonville was, going in. We all thought Jacksonville was going to be cupcakes. They were not going into the season. It was a rainy day. It looked like Florida up there in Philly. We're down 14-0. We hadn't been down since week 1. This was week 4 at the time. We came back and won that. So, we've seen this team have its struggles in the third quarter. We have seen this team overcome a 14-point deficit. We have seen these losses. We're 2-0 in our own division right now. So, we've seen a lot out of these. We've now got the trade deadline. I'm feeling really good about the 6-0 start. And if we can make a big move like A. Burns or DJ Moore, I'm going to feel even better. It's kind of like back in 2017 when we beat the Panthers on that short week. That's kind of when everybody was like, all right, this team might be something. Now that we're going into this season 6-0, and again we were projected to have like maybe 4 wins, it's like, all right, this team might be something right now.
Yeah. Key, what are your thoughts?
I didn't think it was going to be 6-0. Honestly, I thought maybe that Washington might have been our trap game, but I thought we was. I'm like Papa. I thought we was going to lose to Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook. They shut me up. Slay and the rest of the guys. They
Mm-hmm.
proved me wrong. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. So I mean, the 6-0 start is definitely, but we got to learn how to score in the second half. And Gannon got to stop letting the foot off the gas, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's the entire team. I feel like that lets the foot off the gas. I just need to. I just want to sit in the halftime during the halftime speech and figure out what the hell they're saying.
Well, that was something that we've all discussed in the Discord, where, especially me, where I have this hatred of going into halftime because I feel that there are no halftime adjustments being made. We wait until the fourth quarter to make those adjustments. And that's one of the things that irks me the most about Jonathan Gannon. I think he's turned it around a lot this season, especially from where I thought he would be at the beginning of the season. This is a totally different defensive coordinator than what we saw from last year. I think he's getting things done and he's getting things done right. But those second half adjustments have not improved. Dante, what are your thoughts?
I said the first 5 weeks, right? So let's go through their first 5 weeks, and I'm gonna tell you what the different issues were that I thought they were gonna run into. The Lions, first of all, was you went into the void, right? Young, hungry team. Everything to lose, only for them to gain. And you guys came out, won a close game, 38-35. People were still not believing in the talent of the team yet. Then you play the Vikings, and then this is really what happened. Not only did you shut down, Dalvin Cook was non-existent. Justin Jefferson, you could say there were some questionable things that maybe Slay was doing. Kirk Cousins did not throw the ball very, very well. So do I put all the blame on Justin Jefferson just being complete butt cheeks? No, I don't think he was complete butt cheeks. Kirk Cousins just was really, really bad, and they didn't utilize Adam Thielen.
Also, Darius Slay is that man. That's what Darius Slay is. He's that guy.
He is that guy.
So, and they won that game 24-7, and you went over to the Commanders. That was an away game. You guys went all the way to Washington, played Carson Wentz when I was very high coming into this season on Carson Wentz, Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson is no joke, and their defense is pretty good. And you guys smashed them another 24-8 game, and then Jacksonville, they presented the problem of, wow, Jacksonville is actually pretty good. Trevor Lawrence has had a really good couple of weeks. What Trevor Lawrence are we gonna get? Oh, Travis Etienne is doing really well. Oh, James Robinson's looking really, really good. Oh, that defense is looking top 5. Best linebacking core in the first 3 weeks in the entire football league. You guys absolutely slashed them with Miles Sanders. You made Trevor Lawrence in the second half of that game look non-existent. You kept James Robinson under 8 carries. You guys kept Travis Etienne under 8 carries. So that was the problem with them. You squeaked the win out 29-21 on that one. So based off of and then the fifth game was against the Cardinals. Cardinals presented a problem to you guys of Kyler Murray, first of all, and Kyler Murray alone. And that could have been a
3 injured O-line, and to start off with it.
I think the last 2 games were trap games. The Jaguars were a trap game. The Cardinals were a trap game as well. Even before you guys got to the Cowboys, I wasn't really worried about that. I was worried about the Jaguars and the Cardinals. You guys went to Arizona, beat them 20-17. And then just to recap just the Cowboys game, like, I'm sorry. The score is closer than the actual game was. Like, you guys beat the dog crap out of them for 3 quarters.
I'm going to have to clip that.
I mean, it just is what it is. I said it before the game, didn't I? I said,
oh yeah.
I said y'all gonna beat the dog crap out of them, and it might not be on a scoreboard. It's gonna be on a stat sheet, and they gave them a run for their money. And I honestly think I seen what was asked in the chat. Are the Giants or Cowboys a bigger threat? I think the Giants, because you're going into the unknown with that team too. Because Daniel Jones playing really well, Saquon Barkley playing really well, Kayvon Thibodeau, woo, he's looked nasty the last couple of weeks. Like, and their defense is way better than what people are giving them credit for. And I think they're the scarier team, to be completely honest with you. And if they do trade for somebody like DJ Moore, oh man, that's gonna get really, really interesting. I honestly think Odell Beckham Jr. should go back there. That's the best place for him to go back to. Yes.
Yeah,
Go
but I
back to the
think
Giants.
his relationship with that team has soured. The ownership is still involved, and that's one of the biggest issues he's had is with the ownership.
Hey, go there to win games.
But I will say this
championship.
though, there's more of a chance him going to the Giants than he would to Cleveland.
Oh, absolutely. He ain't going back to Cleveland. The only reason he went to Cleveland, I'm convinced, is because Jarvis Landry was there.
Probably.
That's his best friend. Who,
True.
Vic? If you were somewhere and I was playing quarterback and I'm like, Vic's playing left tackle for the Minnesota Wahoos, if they were a football team, and I'm like, man, I'm a Jaguars guy through and through, but if I got the chance to play with my guy that I played with all my life,
Yep.
pause, I'm going to go play for the Minnesota Wahoos. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it
There
is.
is an Eastern Wahoo, Minnesota.
Oh, look at that.
Eastern Wahoo reaches the northern edge of its range in Minnesota, while having a widespread distribution in the southern half of the state. Is not commonly in the plant height 6 feet to 20 feet. What are they growing marijuana? Hold up. Y'all continue.
Let me get your thoughts. What did you think of so far of this 6-0 start to the season?
This season it was definitely crazy. I like it. Sorry, that's the baby in the background.
Hey, this season family love the kids.
Hi, baby.
Yeah, definitely the start wasn't what I thought it would be, but do I like it? Of course, I'm not complaining that we 6-0. Jalen's looking better. The receivers are looking better. I still question Goddard on his catches sometimes. He catches the hard ones and drops the easiest passes in the world. I still question Jonathan Gannon and his play calling at times. So, I mean, but other than that, I can't ask for a better start than 6-0. I mean, what happened last time we went 6-0? I mean, it was destiny. So let's just hopefully we can keep that up and don't be like Pittsburgh. Remember, Pittsburgh went 11-0 before they lost their first game. So
Pittsburgh is also another interesting team that you guys got to play after your bye week.
yep,
I'm telling you, it might have, what was it, the second easiest schedule on the predicted? This has been a very interesting and difficult. Like, I'm telling you, man, I gotta get the Eagles credit. The Steelers are another interesting game that could be a trap game.
Yeah, Steelers would. I think Steelers would be, but I don't know. It's their indecisiveness with their quarterback. Is it going to be Pickett? Is it going to be Trubisky?
It might be Pickett. By the
I
time
don't know. Trubisky played better. Trubisky came in and played better. I think
Trubisky came in when he needed to, and he played.
Yeah.
If I'm the coach, I'm going to have to start Trubisky.
I said that I picked the Colts.
Confidence on the
I
kid,
picked
but
the Colts we lose to.
Yeah.
The Colts. I picked.
I don't think
Matt Ryan had a hell of a game last week.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about it.
Papa.
I don't think
Oh, nice.
anybody is sitting up here saying we're going to go undefeated, but you know, it's a good start. None of us expected us to go 6-0. We expected us to take our lumps and then start winning in the second half, and so far.
If you guys beat the Steelers, the Giants twice, and the Cowboys, that's 4 games. I'm not concerned about Green Bay, the Colts, the Titans, Washington again, and the Saints.
You got the Texans too.
I'm more concerned about the.
I'm not scared about that game. I think y'all are gonna beat the dog shit out of them too.
I'm more
Davis
concerned
Mills has
about
not been playing
Washington
good at all.
with Heineke than I was with ones.
The Texans have only won 1 game. I don't see what I need to see.
Their defense looks good. It's just their offense, and sadly enough, it's the quarterback that's the big problem right
Derek
now.
Stingley Jr. can't
Which
block them all.
Yep.
It's really weird because Davis Mill having his like 3-inch neck, you should be able to see the entire field from up there. The man's his own box. How can you not see where the quarterbacks are? You have the height advantage, bro.
Yeah, so like your last 3 division games, the 2 New York games,
The Bears are gonna.
I
the
forgot
Cowboys,
about the Bears.
and
I forgot
and,
about the
and the
Bears.
Steelers.
Yeah, I would say their Bears are not even worth. That's like
No,
a speed bump to us.
I would bet.
But let's be honest. I think because of that thought right there, because you don't really
We
consider
all
them a threat.
forgot about the Bears.
Yeah, you don't consider them a threat. That'll be the trap game.
Yep.
That'll be the trap game. Because you slept on that team. You thought you were better. You didn't think you had to practice the way you normally did. You had a week off. And guess what? They came ready to play because they do every week. It's any given Sunday. I think, if anything, that might be a game where we need to be focused. Not saying that I'm scared of them. I think we need to, maintain that focus. But, Papa, let me get your answer real quick. What did you think of this 6-0 start?
I started this off.
Oh, I apologize. Then let me follow up with you then. At 6-0, are we the best football team in the NFL? And if not, who and why?
I mean, record-wise, yes, obviously, because we're the only undefeated team. But if you look at it
Who looks at
talent-wise,
records?
huh?
I said, who looks at records?
I mean, if you look at it talent-wise, though, I'm sorry. If the Eagles were to face the Bills right now, I don't think we can beat the Bills. Just mobile quarterbacks, Gannon just can't handle. So I feel like that alone kind of helps. I don't know how much our offense would be able to, or not our offense, our defense would be able to stop Diggs and Gabriel Davis and whoever the slot's going to be. And you got to throw in Kansas there as well. I mean, right there, those are the 3 teams. It's Buffalo, Kansas, and Philly. Maybe in that order, maybe not in that order. Who knows? But right now, those are the top 3 teams in the NFL. And if you want to argue, there's Minnesota as well, who we beat. So we're definitely one of the best teams. I don't think we are the best team yet, though.
The Minnesota Vikings have secondary issues.
Yes.
That's what's killing them.
Yeah. Key, what are your thoughts? Are we the best team in the NFL? If not, who is and why?
If you say in the NFC, I'm going to say yes. AFC,
100%.
AFC, of course, you don't play in the AFC. That would be between the Bills and the Chiefs. So I'm with Papa. We probably third when you look overall in the NFL. We're top 5. I can tell you that.
100%.
So yeah, we are the best in NFC, but overall, no.
Oh, I like it. Dante, you're looking at the outside looking in. So overall, do you think the Eagles are the best team in football? If not, who is?
It's hard to say that they're not. I mean, the Bills have issues, man. Like, everybody wants to say that it's peaches and cream with them, but they have issues at running back still. They don't have a consistent running back.
That's Josh Allen. That is their running back.
Their secondary is still sus. Like, they have their issues. The only thing that's consistent is their front 7, the quarterback, and the wide receivers. Everything else is inconsistent as hell. Kansas City, same thing there. If they had I would say Kansas City, and here's why. If these guys had a world beater running back, let's say if they had Joe Mixon on that team, my goodness, it would be the Chiefs, and it wouldn't be close. They would be the most dominant team. Say what you want, Juju Smith-Schuster's playing awesome. Travis Kelce put up, four touchdowns in one game with 25 yards. Absolutely ridiculous. But if I'm looking at the complete package from top to bottom, it's the Philadelphia Eagles, and to me, it's like Philadelphia Eagles, maybe the Chiefs and the Bills. Then from there, maybe I would say this. S tier right now, if we're doing tiers, S tier is the Eagles. A tier, throw the Bills and the Chiefs in there. C tier or B tier, we're gonna throw the Vikings and the Chargers in there, and probably the Giants. And then C tier on now, it's a free for all. To be completely honest with you,
we're what in the first third of the season. There's still a lot of games left. A lot of teams still need to prove themselves. A lot of teams still need to get together between the coaching staffs and the players. Like the Giants are a perfect example of a team that's still coming together. With that coaching staff, with that playing, look, there's so much turnover at receiver.
The Jets too.
The Jets are coming into their own still. When Zach Wilson came in, I thought that was the worst thing for the Jets because Joe Flacco had them on had them beaten, had them on every beat, and we know Captain, dump off. Does his thing.
Vic, don't lie. You were just upset because you had to drop Tyler Conklin afterwards.
I was. Listen.
Don't lie. That's why you were upset Zach Wilson came in.
I will say this, and this is something that me and Philly Mike had last year when I was like, Joe can't be a starter anymore. Listen, he was doing very well for the time that he was in. He was making those players like no one ever heard of Conklin before. Let's be honest. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was the second best tight end in the first 3 or 4 weeks. That was all Joe Flacco. Again, Zach Wilson comes in, production drops off for both tight ends, not just for one, for both tight ends. But hey, they're an up and coming team. There's a lot of teams that are coming onto their own, and I think that right now the way the landscape looks won't look the same at the end of the season. But we're coming up to an hour. Let me ask you one question. I actually have two. Let me get this one fast out here because we kind of alluded to it. Are the Eagles a legitimate threat in the NFL? Dante, I'll start off with you.
Absolutely, no question, 100%, 1,000%, 10,000%, yes.
I love the confidence behind that. Key, are the Eagles a legitimate threat?
I'm just gonna give you one question. Go back old school and go back to American Idol. That's a yes.
You said American Idol. I was like, wait.
That's a yes for me, dog.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need drunk ass Paula to explain. Laura, are the Eagles a legitimate threat?
I mean, yeah, I would say so. They're to give the more in-depth answer, yeah, they're 6-0 right now with a brand new team, brand new positions. Usually we all sat up here thinking it'd take time to gel. They kind of came out the gate swinging, so schedule kind of gets a little bit easier from here. So yeah, I do. Yeah, I think they're a legit threat.
And I'm gonna give
beat good teams, and we show that we can really beat bad teams.
Yep.
I'm gonna give a shout out to Sirianni as well. Sirianni definitely improved from last year.
More dynamic.
I'm not gonna hold you. So
he's a fiery coach.
So whenever my 15-year-old can come to me and say, "Mom, I love the Eagles' offense because they run a triple option," it has to get the defense their roles and responsibilities. We're doing something, okay? So
15-year-old knows more football than some.
Hey, when we're out here, giving the kids lessons on tape. Hey, that's what you want out of this coach. You know what I mean? Like, other people, teams, colleges, high schools, they're learning off the things that we're doing. We're innovating the game. And that's something that you want out of your coach. You want an innovator. But let me ask this last question. And we kind of talked about it a little bit here and there. We mentioned some teams, but let me just flat out ask. I'll start off with you, Dante. Who will hand the Eagles their first loss this season? And why? Why do you think that?
Schedule real quick.
I'm gonna confidently say nobody. I think you guys are gonna go undefeated.
What?
Hey, and that's not, hold on, wait. That is not from an Eagles fan. Let me just say that clearly. We did not say that. I don't want anyone coming at us. Eagles fans talking about they going undefeated. I just want to make that clear.
I mean, it's crazy because, like I said, the dynamic of teams that you beat. I'm gonna put an asterisk if. I would be 100% confident that they can go undefeated this year if you guys beat the Steelers. With that being said, the Steelers can be your first loss, and here's why. Alex Highsmith is the leading sack artist in the league. Not TJ Watt, because of why? Because he's been injured. Now, their defense is still trying to mesh well together. Miles Jack, we already know what he's about. Mika Fitzpatrick, you guys know what he's about. It's probably the most dynamic. Well, so here's the thing. There's probably the best safety you've gone against all season. that's going to give you fits. Because whatever happened to Cam Bynum, that happened with the Quez Watkins touchdown, that ain't happening against Mika Fitzpatrick. Let's be real. He's not letting that dude go and not sticking on him.
I mean, we say that, but
Hey, Buda Baker ain't nothing to sneeze at, though.
We saw what he did with Gabriel.
I've never been a
Davis,
big
though.
Buda Baker fan.
Really? I think he's solid.
He's solid, but he's not Mika Fitz. I think Mika Fitzpatrick is Troy Polamalu and Ed Reed combined on his best day.
Oh,
Again,
Like-
we did see how Gabriel Davis dealt with Minka, so
yeah, true.
It is what it is. But I think that could be your first loss. And then also, if that offense gets together clicking, man, George Pickens gets more involved because he's been playing really well the last couple of weeks. And I think Mitch Trubisky has now got the kick in the butt that he needed. And if he has a standout game this game, it ain't going back to Kenny Pickett for the. And they're gonna start me. They're gonna start Mitch Trubisky this game.
I would hope they started Minka Fitzpatrick. That'd be awesome.
But yeah, I think if anybody, the Steelers are gonna give you your first loss. But if you get past them, you got to play them at home too. But if you guys get past them,
It was the Ascure Stadium or whatever the hell you say. It's Heinz.
oh wait, no, you guys are playing them at home.
I know.
Yeah.
But I just like saying they stadium name. Like
Acrisure.
there it
no.
is.
It's still Heinz Field.
Mhm.
Key, what do you think? Who will give us our first loss?
I think it's going to be the Colts. I think the Colts is going to give us our first loss only because that could be a trap game. You know, still Jonathan Taylor is still on that team, even though I know he hasn't been the best of healthy. You still have a Pittman, and then you never know. Matt Ryan might have one of those glorious games, and he's looking like Brady. So
Yeah,
I think it'll be Colts.
Good answer, Papa. Who do you think is going to give us our first loss?
Looking at the schedule, I'm really trying to think here.
You can hear a pin drop.
I kind of want to say the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. I know that's gonna suck to say. Spider-Man, no, Brian Birds, go away. But the reason why I'm gonna say Cowboys is because I think we'll already have everything locked up. We'll already have the bye. We'll already have home field. I think we'll have everything already locked up.
I see. So you just think we're going to have our second string?
I
That's
don't
a
know,
good-
we might.
That's a safe pick,
That is
Sor.
very safe.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know.
Hey, if it
But
comes to that,
I'll
I'm
say-
cool with it. I wouldn't be
I'll
upset.
But hey.
I'll say exactly what Dante said. If we beat the Steelers, I don't know, man. I think it's game over after that point. Cue the Sonic music. Cue
Normal guy was
anything.
good.
I think it's game over after that point.
Hey, if I could comment on that though, if you guys lose that last game because of your backups, it's still an undefeated season to me because that's BS. But if your backups end up beating the Giants, they're winning the Super Bowl. I'm calling it right now. I'm calling it right now. The depth on that team is insane.
I want to see what we do during the trade because you know Howie. Howie usually, even if it's a small move, Howie we saw with J.J. Howie usually always does something with the trade deadline. So I do want to kind of see what happens with that.
I think if he does trade, it's either going to be somebody on the offense that's going to be an impact, or I think he might do defense this time. Like, what are we lacking? What are we missing? What can we get? Boom, defense.
I would love
I
another
said
edge
going
rusher,
into the
but there's not
season, I
any
thought
out
we
there.
would have 3 or 4 losses, and I thought one of them was going to be against the Vikings, and that didn't happen. So I really don't know because they already blew that out. We usually never sweep Dallas, so I still feel like we'll probably split with them. Until we sweep them, I'm never going to say we will sweep them.
What about Christian McCaffrey? If he stays healthy, of course he'll be okay. But
I
he
don't
play the
understand the hype.
49ers.
I don't understand the hype, and I know this is Eagles, and I'm sorry that we're extending this show longer, Vic. But I don't understand the hype with Christian McCaffrey. Cool, he's coming home. However,
He was, to be honest, Sor. Let's be square here, bro.
I'm more
Christian
fan of a
McCaffrey, his
circle, but
first
go
2
on.
years, it was the man, bro.
Yes, first 2, but now let's look at injured riddled running back on an injured riddled.
He's still the
Yeah,
man.
but look at the team that he's on and who's his coach. One of the best
That's-
offensive
that's
lines.
Know that guy.
If they stay healthy, the Niners are scary.
But I'll say this about the Niners: a lot of people
We're
are
to
giving
face the Niners right now. I'm sorry.
a lot of people are giving the Niners attention, but again, there's one person that they forget that's not on the Niners right now: Trent Williams.
Exactly.
He's
That
back.
is the biggest loss of the year, and
He's
that
back.
will affect their running game.
Oh yeah, he's back.
He's back.
How
He
long?
was only out for
How
a couple
long,
weeks.
though?
He's not out. He's back.
Since
How
when?
in.
long?
Oh, he's won this week.
Yes.
Yeah, he's playing.
Oh,
this
okay,
week.
okay. See, I didn't even, that's what I was about to say.
Him and
His
Bosa are
loss
playing
is,
this
is,
week.
is a lot,
Bosa's
but
back too.
if he's in and healthy, then that changes everything. Then Christian McCaffrey could possibly, by the end of the year, be your rushing leader. Hey, clip it. I said it here. Just out there for everyone.
If he is, I know exactly who to tweet at. I'm
Hey, that's
sorry.
better than saying Najee Harris. I'll say that.
You're damn right.
But on that note, we are going to end the
Speaking
show.
of-
It has been another great episode of The Big Ticket. For my guy, Papa Sora, Key in the building, and Dante, I am your host, Vick3. We're going to close it out on that note. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. I appreciate you all for coming through. If you have not subscribed yet, please holler at me, man. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell for the notifications. Watch a couple of videos. Hit the like. Also, help out my guys that are here, my fellow guests. Subscribe to their channel as well. Do us a solid. But everybody, Aflac, everybody, I appreciate you all. I got to run and get the wife. Have a great night. Yes, I got to get her because she's probably about to call me, or she's probably watching right now, wondering why I haven't gotten her. Baby, I'm on the way. Everyone.
Baby, I'm back.
It's been a great night. He's got the juice.